I don't know about you, but it's been a tough week for me. I've been, going through some health challenges, but see what the Lord has done. And I am so grateful to be here with you today. So today we want to talk about writing it down, right? We were celebrating the writing day, something like that. I told you there are crazy holidays out there, but hey, who's complaining? I only wish it would translate to, you don't have to go to work or something like that, but it's all good. So we're talking about writing it down. And I know in the book of Habakkuk, the Lord requires for us to write the vision down, make it as plain as possible so that a herald can run with it, And I always found that very interesting, that the Lord requires of us to write down. In fact, I'm reminded in the book of Exodus, it should be Exodus chapter 7, and it talks about, when the Lord asked Moses to write it down, write it on a scroll so that it can be remembered, all right? And so when we're talking about writing down, I want to encourage you, shepherds. There's so much that we learn. For me, I had mentioned earlier that I've been in ministry for now 2 decades. Now, 20 years, that's not a minute. I have seen stuff. I have been in the presence of greatness. I've been in the presence of every type of ministry, so to speak, by God's grace. I have been able to travel the world. I've been able to see quite a bit. And some of my experiences, the Lord is asking me, the Lord is calling me to, to put pen to paper, because someone needs to be encouraged by it. I don't know about you, but I'm one of those people that whenever I pick my laptop, the first thing that comes to mind is work. Like, you need to work, you need to do something. But when I pick pen and paper, for me, it tells me it's time to journal. It's time to write your thoughts. It's time to write your vision. It's time to write your dreams. It's time to do all this. But I want to take it up a notch higher and tell you, if you just write it down and you don't put a date, and especially on something that needs to be done, then it's still a dream. But the minute you give it a date, then you begin to focus towards something. You begin to, to move towards something. And I find it interesting that the Lord is asking us severally in scripture, through scriptures, to write down our vision, to write down so that somebody is able to remember. So I'm finding it twofold. There's writing down your vision so that in cases, this is not just death. We're talking about many other times that, something you're just not able to accomplish something because of whatever it is, that someone else will be able to read it and say, hey, this makes sense. I want to run with this. This is something that I can actually take as is, or I can take it to another level. And this helps even for the people that you're mentoring. They're able to know what it is, where are you going, how do you want to get there. And no wonder in the book of Habakkuk it talks about writing it plain. But now when we come to Exodus and the Lord is speaking to Moses about writing it down, we see it's for remembrance. Okay, so remembrance in this case, it comes up when someone is able to write something down, you remember. So when you're going through it, and it doesn't have to be negative, it can even be positive, but you're able to know, hey, someone else went through this. Hey, you know what? I can actually learn a thing or two from this. I have put down my biography, my autobiography, on my life, and I have seen it has helped thousands and thousands of people who have felt like there's no way out, people who felt so alone, people who felt, how am I supposed to wake up and push another day? But because of the grace of God upon my life that allowed me to write down the book, it's called Crawling Out of Darkness, people then have been able to read it and they felt encouraged. And one of the things that I've had so many people commenting on the book is because you were able to rise up and keep going, then I found strength to do the same for me. Okay, so how do I tie this, and especially for us shepherds? One of the things that I really want to encourage you is that our experiences are just beautiful. They're unique. It doesn't mean that it cannot be found out of the space of being a shepherd, but there's just something about you taking the lead. There's something about you having this vision of this nonprofit and taking the lead, and for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, there's so much experience that comes with it. For those who are asking, what can I do? What can I write about? Just write about the experiences. Write about how you started. Was it clear, the vision? Did God just speak and you up and started? What are some of the lessons that you've learned along the way this far that you've come? And I know some of us say, hey, you know what, Pastor Terry, I am waiting until the vision is really solid and it's complete. That's not what everybody needs. Some people just want to know you actually moved when you're not sure and you've gotten this far. Or some people want to know, how did you know that it was God? How did you know that you're being directed by God? And so what I'm trying to say is that at every stage of your life, I encourage you to just start. That's why there is second edition and volume 2, volume 3, volume 5, because the more as you keep going in the ministry, as you keep going in the nonprofit, as you keep going as a trailblazer, there's so much more that comes along the way that you're able to add. We want to read. I don't want to read about, your journey and be done. I want a volume 2. Why? Because we serve a God of glory to glory. So I want to be able to read volume 2 and see, oh, that's what's happening now. After 5 years, that's where she is. After this, same thing even with my book. I'm on volume 2 right now because things have changed. Things have changed. Ministry has taken different shapes and forms, but the thing is, I'm writing it down. I am capturing this. Okay, so as we celebrate National Writing Day, and I just want to encourage you, shepherd. We want to hear from you. Your children want to hear from you, biological or spiritual. So many people are waiting for these books. They can never be enough books. They can never be enough books. It's not fiction. It's what has happened to you. Your experience is not my experience. If I share mine today, someone will be encouraged, but someone else is waiting for yours to be encouraged. Okay. So I pray that you will take some time and just sit down and just write. Begin to write. And I've had this question so many times. People ask, how do you write? I'll give you a secret that one of my friends in Zimbabwe, she's called Bishop Hove, told me about this. And she said, begin with chapters, write the title, the topics of the chapters, and then begin to fill. Because my first book, when I was writing my first book, I just wrote a blog, wrote, and then came back trying to fit it in chapters. It was so hard. I did double work. And so that really helped me. And that's the advice I keep giving anybody who cares to have an interest to write a book. And I pray that this is your, how do I say, this is your sign. That's the word I was looking for. This is your sign for you to go ahead and write a book. Someone is waiting. Someone needs to write it. And if for nothing, as Exodus 7 says, write it for remembrance. All right. God bless you. Have a beautiful, beautiful week filled with good health and wellness. Bye-bye.